Well, thank you so much for joining our second session of supporting your immune system. So, again, my name is Jamie, and I'm so excited to be your MC for this event this week. We have an incredible speaker, one of my really good friends. We actually met through our husbands because they were roommates in college. So, I got to know Kat really well during their relationship with her husband Kirk, and then after they got married, we've been able to hang out and catch up. Just to give you guys a little bit of an introduction into who Kat is, she is a mom of two, and she is an incredible mama. You guys, I love her boys. They're so cute. And then her degree is actually a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Foods with a concentration in dietetics. Is that how you say it right?
Dietetics. A fancy way
Dietetics.
of like the clinical food and nutrition.
Yes. So she has had 4.5 years of clinical nutrition practice in a short-term rehab facility. And right now she's a full-time mama, but she has had so much experience. I wanted to use her for this incredible talk about food and the immune system because I know she has so much experience and so much information to share with us today. So, Kat, thank you for being here today. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's been a little while since I was telling Jamie since I've done something like this, but I'm super excited because I love food and I love nutrition, and I think that there are a lot of misconceptions out about both areas. There's a lot of really just diet culture that's going on right
Yeah.
now where I feel like we as consumers, we as professionals, even we as just people are hearing a lot of conflicting information. And one of the things that I'll just go ahead and kind of state out there, hopefully this is okay with some of you guys who are listening, but one of the things that I'm super passionate about is just intuitive eating, and that being really anti-diet culture. And so some of what I may talk about, you kind of might say, well, that's not exactly what I've heard before. And there's a reason for that. I think that there's a lot that is just wrongfully communicated to people about nutrition, about food, about immunity, about health. And there is absolutely so much truth in what you put into your body, building your immune system. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that there's also a lot of just body shaming. And I am super passionate about just bringing freedom into people's lives and relinquishing some of the bondage that they're in, helping to be a tool to relinquish that, because I think especially as women, I'm not sure if we have any men on here or if they'll watch later, but especially as women, we are so prone to buying into this idea that our health has to be based by the scale that we see, the numbers that reflect on the scale. And I just really want to break that. So it's just a little
Yes.
side note for you
Oh,
guys.
I love that, Kat. And I am so excited to hear that perspective because
Yeah.
I know for me personally, I have really struggled with food. Like you go from one way of eating where you feel like, oh, I'm free, I'll just eat all this junk food. And then the
Right.
next minute you're like, oh, I need to not eat anything that
Right.
I like. Like it's either extreme, there's
Yeah,
no happy medium. And it's really
absolutely.
restrictive. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear your perspective as we go through this class because I think that will be really a much healthier perspective for us to all have as we're looking at food.
Sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yes. So for our first question, obviously dealing with the immune system, we're thinking of what types of things maybe we should be eating. Are there
hmm
things during quarantine that would be better for us or that we should focus on?
Quarantine or not, I think the most important thing, just as just a base, is one, just that you're feeding yourself. And yes, we'll go into some specifics, but one, I mean, there is just that you're staying nourished, and a lot of that's gonna vary depending on availability of your area. I'm out here in Botetourt County, and so we're rural, but we're not really that rural. I've got a Food Line 5 minutes up the road. So my availability to foods might be more than some areas. And I think what's happening right now with coronavirus right now is that a lot of people are freaking out about the potential of shortages. So what that's doing is actually causing shortages and different things. And so baseline, yes, absolutely. There are things that you can eat to strengthen your immunity. But more than anything, what I really just want to encourage everyone who's listening is just eat. I mean, feed your body. I think you guys are going to have a dietitian on later, and I'm a in the tier of nutrition. I'm like one step below. So I'm what's considered a dietitian technician. And so much of your immune system is built in your gut. And I'm sure that she will really own in on that a little bit later, but your gut is where your immune system is built up. So when you talk about wanting to improve your gut health, feed your gut those good things that are going to help strengthen it for immunity, you're going to be talking about things like your dark leafy greens, your things that are high in vitamin C, your things that, the colors of the rainbow. I mean, we've all kind of heard that, but just to kind of press into that a little bit more, your things that are higher in vitamin C, obviously we think of citrus, which is so true. But then there are things this was something I learned recently, the red bell pepper has higher amounts of vitamin C than any citrus fruit out there. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow,
That
red
is so
bell
cool.
pepper. I know, and it has a lot of flavor. So I'm thinking tacos and fajitas and things like
Yes.
that. Getting some of those things in there to kind of boost that vitamin C level. So anything that is not anything, but what you really want to focus on are those things that are vitamin rich. Those are going to come primarily from your whole fruits and vegetables, from your whole grains, from your meats. And, again, I'm not going to be one to advocate. I don't believe just on personal and professional level in elimination of major food groups unless there's a medical necessity for it. Because what I think that does is it starts this cycle of it's a back and forth of control, and there's a lot of mental and spiritual and emotional damage that can come from just restricting certain things. And a lot of our culture right now is really using even the wellness tagline of it's not a diet, but you can't eat alcohol, you can't have gluten, you can't have dairy, and you can't have sugar. Well, just that is a diet.
That is a diet.
That is a diet. So when you're thinking about things that you should eat, really you want to think about the colors of the rainbow. You want to think about those whole fruits and vegetables. I think Jamie, I might be skipping a little bit, but if you don't have maybe your produce section at your grocery store is running low on certain fruits and vegetables, frozen is a great way to still get those essential vitamins and minerals and still not lose the nutrient density of a product when you're talking produce. And canned, it's important to just eat what you have access to and to not feel guilty if you are not eating purely organic, although those are super important. If you have the means to do that, there are so many benefits of that, but just eating and fueling your body with the colors of the rainbow, with the whole fruits and vegetables. Don't need to be afraid of eating a cookie. If you want a cookie, go for it, but it's really more than anything, it's just nourishing your body, because what you're wanting to do is to fuel your immune system, which is based in your gut, in that digestive tract, which is later gonna help you fight against, hopefully not coronavirus, but flus and colds and other things like that.
Yes, that is so amazing. I had no idea that the red bell pepper of all things. That's incredible. I'm gonna go stock up on those.
Yeah, well, and which your dietitian will probably get on a little bit later and talk about is your probiotics and prebiotics. That's something that you would want to try to consume. And some of those things can be found naturally in foods, and some of them are found supplementary. But those are going to be really good things to strengthen your gut. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. And Young Living actually has an incredible probiotic. We
mhm.
have one for adults called Life 9. And
Mhm.
then there's actually this one for kids, and it's a little pixie stick. And they take it's got a ton of probiotics, and it also
Yeah.
has prebiotics.
Yeah.
So that's safe for the kids to take. And me and Seth actually love them. So we buy the kids ones too. We're just like, we'll eat these.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and that's one thing too, just since you brought up, like, a lot of like probiotics are a little bit more common as far as like people's understanding. Okay, probiotic is good bacteria, and you want to have good bacteria in your digestive tract so that it can help the other processes of just your body in general, but specifically your immune system. But what prebiotics do is it's the food for your probiotic. So it's not something
oh,
that is manufactured naturally in your body, but it's basically like, you want your good bacteria to be strong. You want it to be
yeah.
healthy. And so the prebiotic is going to fuel that and help strengthen, sorry, my son's crying,
Oh,
help
I'm sorry.
strengthen, yeah, it's okay, he should go back down, because that wasn't a very long nap, but we'll see.
Yeah.
um but yeah, so those prebiotics are going to help strengthen the the good bacteria, the probiotic.
Oh, well, that is awesome. And basically, like during quarantine, we're really wanting to support our bodies. And then, what if we don't have like, so we can try frozen, we
Mhm.
can try like different foods to eat. Is it okay to supplement as well if we have like a fruit
Yeah.
and veggie supplement?
Yeah, there's actually there's a lot on the market now, that is, fruit and vegetables, even just in a powder form that you take in a capsule. There are several different companies that do that. Vitamins and minerals, taking a supplement is a good way to help fill in the gap. I wouldn't rely completely on it. I think, again, like, the bulk of your nutrition, the density of your nutrition is going to come from the food that you consume. Um, we don't have to get into, but like, through some vitamins and minerals, some companies, the way that they're actually processed in your body, if they're just not always going to supply completely what you think that they are. But they're a fabulous addition too, especially during, cold and flu season, to kind of boost the immune system. But they are a helper. They're kind of meant to be like an aid, and not just something that you solely depend on.
Yeah.
But yeah, vitamins and minerals, there are a couple of different ones that are going to have like actual, like, food powder, are probably going to be your
Yeah.
strongest,
Hmm.
and safest. But there's nothing wrong necessarily with a multivitamin or something like
Yeah.
that either.
That's awesome. And Young Living has a super green
Yeah.
powder supplement, and I actually love it. And I do use it kind of like as a
Yeah.
supplement to my normal trying to eat healthy. But yeah, it has like some spinach and all
Mhm.
kinds of greens in that. And then we also have a vitamin C and many other supplements
Yeah.
as well. So that's so cool, Kat. And then I had some questions about like cravings. I
Yeah.
know during like this time, some of it is probably boredom, but for
Mhm.
me personally, I just want to keep eating all
Yeah.
the time. And all I want to eat is like junk food, like
Yeah.
salty, which isn't normally how I eat. So it's kind of random. But
Yeah.
what do you think? Like, do you have any advice regarding when we're feeling those cravings?
I think where I would stand, is that usually, so kind of what you're talking, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to like say one way or another, is in some way, maybe emotional eating. Maybe you're not like in a horrible place, but I
Oh,
would
for
say that
sure.
it's
For
it's
sure
like
it
it's like
is.
a similar like process, like the way, whatever you're feeling, especially during quarantine, which might be isolation, it might be boredom, it might be fear, it might be, like, whatever it
All
may
of
be.
the above.
Sometimes for me, yeah, sometimes for me it's just like, I just don't like, I just feel stuck. And so we
Yeah.
reach for the things that we have control over. And a lot of times that's food. And I don't think that we need to feel guilty about reaching for an unhealthy snack. And I don't like to use that word, but I don't think we need to feel guilty about it. I think the more important thing is like trying to identify why doing it. Like, address the emotional side of it, address the feeling of, okay, am I eating just because I'm bored? Am I eating because I'm actually hungry? Like, like where is it in that? Like, address it from like an emotional standpoint first. And then I think you can kind of have a little bit more clarity on whether or not you are eating just because it's in front of you. But I would also say that, like, a lot of times we miss our hunger cues. And so sometimes we're eating because we've missed a cue. Like, maybe earlier in the day, you were feeling hungry and you weren't responding to that hunger cue, whether it's because you were working or because you were sidetracked or whatever it may be. But you didn't honor that hunger cue. And so it's manifesting later in a, let's just eat whatever I want, like, kind of snacky, grazing mentality. And most of the time we want things that are salty. We want things that are sweet because our body missed this hunger cue.
Yes. Oh, well, that is so awesome, Kat. You have been so amazing, and I know your little man. Do you want to? I want to let you go get him too, so we can wrap up as well.
Okay.
Um, I will let you kind of summarize the rest of what you'd like to share with us today, and
Sure.
then we can wrap up as well.
Yeah,
We
sorry
can
if he's in the
barely hear
background.
him. We can barely
Okay.
hear him. I just don't want your little mama heart to be
Well,
worried
I
about
was
him.
hoping that he would go back down because he
Yeah,
really didn't nap that long, but
yeah.
you never know.
No worries.
Um,
It's real life. That's how it
yes,
goes.
real life. Well, I think what I really just want to encourage, whether you're working from home as a mom, whether you're furloughed from going to work, whether you're still going out to work during this time, I think that there are a lot of stressors that are contributing to um, our immune system. And when your immune system is under stress, whether that's from infection, whether that's from lack of sleep, whether that's from sickness, it's gonna respond in a way that your body isn't used to. And so when you are able to fuel your body correctly, and correctly is often just listening to what your body actually needs, responding to those hunger cues, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, taking a supplement if you feel like there are some gaps, things like that. But when you respond to your body and you respond to what your body's trying to tell you, your immune system is going to be strengthened. And I think that food plays an absolutely important role in that. But my encouragement, just as a side and a takeaway from it, is just don't be fooled by diet culture, which tells you that you can only eat a specific way and that these are the only things that are good for you, because that's just not true. What's good for you is food. What's good for you is feeling the freedom to eat and respond to your body without feeling guilt or without feeling shame. And it is like, I do just want to, like, put the plug in, like, even if this is a few months, like these few months of maybe abnormal eating patterns, like, they're not going to ruin your health. You
Yeah.
may have side effects that are uncomfortable, because maybe it's just outside of your normal, but your health is not going to be ruined by these few months of abnormal eating. And just feel the freedom, especially, I know as a mom, like, my kids, like, some of just what we have access to, some of what we have in the house, it's not really always what we would eat on a normal basis. But not feeling guilty about that. Like, the most important thing is feed your children and feed yourself and get enough sleep and drink enough water and feel free to make those decisions without feeling guilt or shame. And yes, take probiotics, take prebiotics, take these things that are going to benefit the good bacteria in your gut to strengthen your immune system. But if at any point you feel like what the choices that you're making over food, or the choices that you're making with what you're purchasing, if there's ever like a controlling, like, undertone, or feeling like you're grasping in order to maintain control, like, just walk in the freedom of, like, you don't have to feel that control, because this is just the season. This is something that, like, our bodies are amazing, and the most important thing that you can do is just fuel it.
Kat, this was so incredible. Like everything you said, just I feel like was spoken directly to my heart, and like what I needed to hear during this time. And I know so many people are going to be so blessed by hearing this talk by you.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, your experience, and your knowledge. It has been a joy talking with you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'm happy to go get Levi and come back and answer questions if there are
Yeah.
questions, but I probably should just grab him.
Yes, that would be perfect. If you want to grab him, I'll
Okay.
talk about a few more supplements while
Okay.
we're waiting, and then
Awesome.
we'll get to see your boy too.
Okay.
So you guys, this that talk with Kat was so incredible. Talking about like the supplements that we can take, like greens, which is an incredible supplement that Young Living has. We also have the Super C vitamins. I take the chewable ones, and they taste amazing. We also have like different supplements that you can take, like protein powders. We have the pre and probiotics, both of those, so you get kind of both ends of that. And then we have some like meal replacement shakes. So if you're feeling like really stressed, we have an entire sleek line that, although it's geared towards weight loss, it has a lot of nutritional value in those shakes and in those supplements that you can use for any time when you're just like on the go and you want um, a nutritional snack as well. So I also wanted to mention, I know there's a lot of chaos going around with our ability to like our desire even to make sure our fruits and vegetables are clean. So kind of when you bring your groceries all home, you're like, oh, I need to disinfect all of these. Young Living actually has a fruit and veggie soak and a fruit and veggie spray that's based on our Thieves line. So if you're feeling kind of panicky about how do I eat these fresh vegetables, like have they been contaminated, you can actually use the Thieves fruit and veggie spray or fruit and veggie soak, and it actually makes a huge transformation in your veggies. Hey, Levi, we are so glad to have you, buddy. Oh my
Sorry,
goodness.
guys.
No worries. We are so excited. We were just talking about kind of washing your fruits and veggies. And Young Living has the Thieves fruit and veggie spray and fruit and veggie soak, but even probably just water would be better than nothing, right, Kat?
Yeah, I mean, really what you're looking for is there's just in the like transportation process and then the harvesting process of those fruits and vegetables, of even meat. I think that's sometimes one that I forget is like kind of
Oh,
like rinsing off like meat before you start to cook it. Just because bacteria in transit and
okay.
in harvesting and in yeah, processing and packaging, especially right now when things are kind of crazy. And I'm sure you all have heard like I think there's a couple of like chicken factories or something like that where a lot of the workers were diagnosed with, COVID-19, and that's not a
Yes.
good thing by any means, but just like taking the extra precaution of rinsing off those things, you wash your hands before you eat. Essentially,
Mhm.
this is like that. You're washing your fruits and vegetables, you're washing your meat, which is really hard for me to remember, before you cook it, before you're getting ready to use it, before you're going to consume it. And yes, a lot of that is or could come off with the heat if you're cooking, like say meat or something like that. A lot of that bacteria is gonna die off, but it's still just that extra precaution. It's that social distancing part of protecting yourself in that way.
Oh, I love that. We actually had a question,
Yeah.
and I was wondering if you might have any input. Does your age impact what foods you should be eating, or I guess should not be eating?
I think what you have to look at, so the population that I worked with in a clinical setting, primarily were 50 to 105-year-olds
Mhm.
at first, when I first started my nutrition degree. So when you're looking at, or my nutrition, whatever, actually working real life job. Oops. So what you're looking at a lot of times in that is, I don't think I don't feel like, and maybe someone would disagree, that you necessarily need different food unless there is you're usually at higher risk for having different medical complications. So the older you get, the more likely deficiencies exist. You are facing things that are stronger disease states, and those are going to limit or restrict or maybe require more calories or less calories or more protein, or our bones degenerate, and so having enough vitamins and minerals, calcium is a huge one, obviously, and so I would say that a lot of it is more, it's not necessarily that you need, I wouldn't say that you need different food as much as it's that the disease process of your body, like the way that your body is just aging, might require an increase or a decrease in specific foods. Does that make sense?
Yes, that is so helpful. I know for some people, it's the diet culture as well. Like you feel like, oh, I'm this age, so I need to do this. But finding the freedom in that is incredible.
Well, and there's also I'm sorry. Like our bodies go through different cycles that just happen naturally with age. So you're going to have, for some people, you're going to have a decline in cognitive function. So there are like brain boosting type foods that can help enhance cognitive, not elasticity, but like lengthening and strengthen those things. For women, menopause, like hormonal health is a huge thing, not just menopause, having babies and having your period and doing, like your hormonal health, the things that are like cyclically happening in your body might require a, not change, but just, you might just notice that your body's needing more things during those times or less things, depending on what it is.
Yeah, that is so helpful. Speaking of like mind health, Young Living, I have noticed a huge difference using our supplement called Ningxia Red every single day. It's a super fruit supplement. It has like crazy high antioxidant values, and I use like 1 ounce a day. You take like a little Ningxia shot, and it has made a huge difference. Also, while I was studying for the bar exam, we have a similar supplement called MindWise, and I was taking that regularly because I was just needing so much brain power, and I was also using some other specific essential oils to make sure that I was like at my maximum capacity of brain power. But I really noticed a difference in like my memory retention and being able to focus. I think it's the fruits that are in it must be targeted towards that.
Yeah, I want to say a lot of the berries are, you hear a lot of those recommendations from practitioners, like if you like have not that you have Alzheimer's, but like in the elderly population is my point of reference. But anytime, I mean, what you're talking about is you're talking about cognitive function, and there are specific, those, I know berries are a huge part of that cognitive development, like encouraging good cognitive development. Where are you going?
Yeah, he wants some. He wants some berries. Well, that is so awesome. I want to open it up. If anyone who's on live has any questions for Kat, feel free to unmute yourself. You're all muted right now, but if you have any questions, I would love to give you the opportunity to ask them. And I don't see any in the chat, so if you're not feeling like talking, you can feel free to chat as well. Well, Kat, I don't think we have any questions. I'm not seeing any come through, but thank you so much. This has been an incredible time of just learning different ways that we can support our bodies.
Yeah,
so thank you, friends.
Thank you guys for being patient.
Yes, it was so awesome. Yes, well, thank you.
You're welcome.